Alright, so I've been looking back at the first couple of custom track reviews I uploaded and going over what I could have done differently and comparing them with my more recent uploads, since there seems to be a pretty big difference between them. In addition to at least making an attempt to be more lighthearted and not so self-serious, I've noticed a bit of a pattern in my recent reviews. The last 3 episodes I've gone on long-winded rants about AI param and bean corners, my terrible capture card, what separates good from bad, or I spent a lot of time wandering around driving on walls and blah blah blah, and they all took way too long to write. Way too long. I'm hoping this one will just be a short one, just here's a track, this is what I think about it. Nothing more, nothing less. So today we will be talking about the custom track Haunted Woods by Fandroid, who again wins an honorable mention for worst username. I have a feeling I'm not pronouncing that right, but you know what, it's too late now. Haunted Woods is obviously themed off of, well, Haunted Woods. It's a spooky forest track with ghosts and stuff. Call me Deadmau5. Here's a fun little trivia fact y'all might know if you've ever looked at the track's wiki page. The layout was based off a DeviantArt post from the user World's Boss. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the end product. Finish lines with pipes over here, speed boosts with oil slicks over here, however you describe this part over here. It even has the off-road cut with the piranha plants. I think it's safe to say Thundum followed the post pretty closely. I'm sure that made World's Boss very happy, but I don't think I can say the same for anyone else, because this track is one of the most hated tracks out there. People just don't seem to like it very much. You wanna look at the comments? Let's look at the comments. Congrats! With this post, you ended up creating the worst track in CGP. We'll see about that one, Rocky. And thus, a legendary custom track was born. Ooh, okay. So we have some conflicting opinions. Alright. As I said, this track is pretty controversial. Let's find out whose opinion is right. As it turns out though, I got this assumption that Haunted Woods was widely hated from basically nothing, judging by the poll I set up on the MKWii subreddit. This one leans a lot more positively than the Six King one did. Maybe that just says the subreddit likes it more than the general community outside of Reddit, or maybe it just says that people are nostalgic over it now that it's gone, but I'm pretty sure it's not nearly as hated as I thought. But you know what? That goes against my narrative. I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist. Look at me, I'm ready to be a politician. This track has been in CGP for about 12 years now. An impressive lifespan to be sure, absolutely nothing to scoff at. But then again, ASD of course has been around for just as long, and we all know how bad that one is. Volcanic Sky was around for about 9 years before getting removed. The loops were around for a pretty solid amount of time too. Six King Labyrinth and Incendia Castle are pretty much immortal at this point. We'll see about this one. Along with Custom Track Grand Prix Revolution, Haunted Woods can be spotted in many ACT distributions such as Cuber Luigi CT Pack, Mario Kart Awesomeness, and the illustrious Katak Kart Wii 3.0. This track is also sitting alongside ASD of course and Six King Labyrinth in the Best of the Worst distribution. So that probably means it's gonna be pretty good. When you start up the track, right off the bat, medium, straight away, you can see some problems with how it looks. It's very of its time, I should say. This track reeks with age. You can sort of tell with how choppy everything is structured, the kinds of textures used, how the textures don't even line up most of the time. It's most noticeable with the road itself, of course. I mean, look at this. Quality. I don't know if it's because of any technological limitations at the time it was made, or if the creator just didn't know how to do it properly, but something tells me that this track isn't very well made, if you get what I'm saying. I was honestly surprised to learn that MS Paint had no part in making this, because this is the level of quality that I would expect from a paint track. One thing you're probably already sick of me pointing out, ironically enough, is the lack of variety. You got a dirt road and, well, more dirt road. The ghost house is the most visually striking part of the course, which is a shame because it's useless. Most of the track you'll find a lot of earthy tones, a lot of greens and browns. Wow, what a concept. A track taking place in the woods has a woodsy palette. Big surprise. The lack of variety isn't necessarily a problem here, whereas for another track it might have been. For this one, I don't seem to mind. I'm gonna make an exception for this one, and I'm gonna make all sorts of reaches to justify it. I'm sticking with my gut here. I definitely feel this way for a reason. There's something about the featureless piranha plants, the pale blue chain chomp, the design of the trees, the warped and strange look of the dirt, the distorted look of the track in general. It all mixes to create a very sort of worn down, grungy aesthetic, kind of eerie. It's intriguing. I gotta say, it's interesting. It's interesting. The less than standard quality of the track's visuals, again, be it through laziness or incompetence or primitive software, it all somehow works in the track's favor. It really boosts it up for me. I think if this were to be made today as a standard Blender track, smooth polish and all, I don't think I'd be as interested in it, like, at all. As it is, it works. It works. Sort of unrelated. Actually entirely unrelated. But I downloaded this app on my phone that automatically generates illustrations based on text input. It's called Dream by Wombo, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. Y'all have probably heard a lot about AI generated art by now. I think it's really fascinating. I've been into this stuff for like about a year at this point. It's crazy. So just to see what would happen, I typed Haunted Woods in the prompt and selected a bunch of different styles to see what would come up. And here's a collage of that. There are a lot more reds and especially purples in there than I was expecting. It's interesting to notice. Am I saying interesting enough? I feel like I'm saying interesting a lot. Interesting. Anyhow, on to the gameplay. It's okay. Not very great. The wonkiness is not just in the visuals. There's some strange stuff going on here too. It like takes the jaggedy design of ASDF course, but actually does something with it. It actually serves a purpose here. Yeah, okay, I know the other one had a purpose too, but this actually makes sense. You're on a trail, in the woods. It's gonna be a bit rough. Okay, I lied. The roughness is mostly in the second half of the track. The first half over here is nothing special. There are some twists, some turns. You can push your enemies into the pit and drown them. That's pretty fun. But it's actually not fun. Or maybe it is? I can't even tell anymore. Now, if you look to your right over here, you'll notice this gigantic block of darkness. A worn down mansion, completely unstable. How is it still structurally sound? No one knows. Maybe because it's haunted.
Spooky for you.
When you go inside, there are two paths you can take. There's a front one, which has a set of 2 special item boxes giving out triple green shells, and there's the back one, which has 2 more special item boxes, the left giving out triple shrooms and the right giving out a mega. The 2 paths meet up, and then the player can get back on the road through the speed ramp. You're probably able to tell that this is kind of far out from the normal course, especially the second path. Even with the shrooms and the speed boost, I'm still doubtful over whether or not taking this can give you any sort of advantage. Maybe if you use your shrooms wisely and cut some corners later on, you can catch up, but that's assuming you can make it past the chain chomp guarding the exit. Dodging this chain chomp is the most difficult part in the entire track. When you get hit, not only do you drop whatever items you're holding, but you hardly get any time to move before it charges at you again. I've had an instance where it attacked me like 4 times in a row before I was able to get away. My advice would be not to wait for a standstill mini turbo. Just go. Get out as fast as you can.
Like, look at this, dude. I was just going through the motions, you know, just going through, and look at this. Look at this. It attacks me from behind the wall. What kind of nonsense is this? Are you kidding? And it goes back behind the wall, of course.
Going back and forth and seeing if you can dodge the chain chomp can be a really fun game to play by yourself or with friends if you have any, but unfortunately if you do this in the middle of a race you might lose a little bit of time, so it's probably best to just stay focused on the race and get out of there. Taking the ghost house is high risk and low reward. Not worth it. The best you'll get are triple shrooms, and there's a good chance you'll get those taken away from you, so there's ultimately no incentive to go here. What's the point? It doesn't save any time, it doesn't give you any useful items, it isn't even a good alternate route to the main course, it's just a waste of space. You thought something interesting was gonna be here, but no, it's just a bunch of nothing. Though considering the inspiration behind the house being here, it isn't much of a surprise why it's so bad. Here, have some complimentary green shells, for your troubles. Oh, never mind. Chain Chomp got those too. If you stick to the main road, there are some turns and a set of item boxes. You know, it keeps you busy, but not very entertained. Unless you cut inside the grass and try to avoid these piranha plants, then it gets like a little exciting. And immediately after, it's back to this. Now around here is where the jankiness gets cranked up to a solid 7.5. Maybe 7. You could tell when the geometry gets warped like this that things are gonna get real interesting. Trees sticking out of the walls, lines of grass in the dirt, lines of dirt in the grass, the road gets a little thinner, turns get a little tighter, there's a random tree in the corner over there, what? Then this, what about this? You thought you were being slick here? Thought you would cut off some extra space, cut off a little time? Think again, fool. Die. And just to rub salt in the wound, you respawn all the way back here. Because you know where you don't need to worry about respawns? In places where the player cannot possibly die. Or should not possibly die, I should say, since this gap shouldn't be there. Oh, maybe it was intentional, maybe the creator deliberately left it there as a trap and you fell for it. Lol. 1, it's a bad trap, it's blind, it's cheap, it should be more apparent that there's a hole here so players who are paying attention know to avoid it. From this angle, it just looks like there's grass underneath, so it might be okay. And then it pulls this junk. It punishes players for taking advantage of their experience and taking tighter turns to save time. Great trap. 2, the first pawn of the track actually is a deliberate trap set to catch players going too tight. The description World's Boss gave explains this, so if Thondom wanted something similar, he should have made it a similar design. And 3, this is probably just the result of a bad modeling job, because I mean, look at the rest of the track. But even if it was intentional, then the respawn should be a little bit closer in my opinion. Just a little bit. Because this is annoying. Hey, this is editing me, and I just realized I never actually talked about the gameplay that much. It's just the ghost house and the water gap. Everything else about the track got completely overshadowed by an optional, unimportant part of the track that's off to the side and lasts less than 10 seconds, and a modeling error. You see kids, this is why you proofread what you write, else your writing will end up completely unfocused and off topic. I'm stubborn, and I want this video done and published by Halloween, so I'm not going to spend super long trying to think of what to say about the gameplay. As a whole, the track is sort of flat and not very interesting. There are the occasional chompers and modeling blips to shake things up, so that helps. And I'm not saying it's completely boring, it can be fun at times, it can. It just depends on whether or not the track feels like having fun. It has its moments, I guess I should just say that. It has its moments. Despite how janky it is and how many objectively bad decisions were made in its creation, it ain't all that bad. The way I talk about it here makes it seem really negative, but it's really not that bad. Anyway, here's the part where I talk about small details and shortcuts and other extra stuff, which I was already doing anyway since I forgot to stay focused on the gameplay. Thanks for subscribing, by the way. Lets me know this is quality content. I'm sure you're all aware of the infamous quote-unquote shortcut here. If you pull it off right, it's like the cannon cut in Six King Labyrinth. It cuts off so much, and at least appears to save so much time. It's a little more fair here though, because not just anyone can take it, you gotta have the right items. Stars, megas, goldens, you know what's up. You're gonna want at least one of these to get through. If you use the golden alongside a star or a mega, even better. But you have to be carrying one if you want to pass. There's also a bullet bill too, but you gotta make sure you drive through the mud path a little bit before activating it, otherwise it'll turn around and go through the normal track. Also, the bullet goes super high right around here. I'm not sure what that's all about, but okay. And may the Mario Kart gods have mercy on your soul if you're unfortunate enough to get hit by these plants. If these spotless piranha plants weren't spooky enough for you, they have quite the bite. Once they get you, they'll stop you dead in your tracks and cause you to lose whatever items you may have been holding, as well as a bunch of time, as well as your dignity. These plants are evil. Evil with 2 L's. They are out for blood. Avoid them at all costs. And naturally, once you're hit, you gotta endure driving the rest of the cut. An agonizingly slow 10-second walk of shame showing everyone else how you thought you were too good to drive the track normally, and now you're all alone, stuck going 32 kilometers an hour, but you gotta put up with it. It's not like you can turn back. You're in too deep. You gotta keep pushing forward. The catch is, though, the cut is made of really heavy off-road, because of course it is. Deal with it. Oh, and you thought you could escape by falling off? Oh, you poor fool, that's not gonna work. You get respawned back on the cut. Idiot. Thankfully ahead of the plants, but a sizable distance away from the ramp. The plants are placed at around the same area your item would run out, so you'd probably have to deal with this whether or not you got hit. Doesn't mean the plants aren't jerks though, they still slow you down when you hit them. Fortunately, because the mud cut allows you to skip so much of the track, you should be able to get back into the race if you fell a bit far behind, even if you had to spend the last 10 seconds dragging yourself through the mud, literally speaking. The mud cut is all Haunted Woods really has in terms of interesting shortcuts, but it has a fair amount of explorability. Like here, I was wandering around here because this seems like an open area of the track, and it's like way in the corner, maybe I could get a cool shot to use in the thumbnail. Well no cool shots. I had to use one of the opening pans, but I did find something cool. Go to the edge by the side of the ghost house, right next to the water over here, and if you look to your left, you see a little bush there floating in the water. What is this doing there? It's so bizarre. Secret bush. And even better, if you turn around, you'll find another one. There's two of them. Secret bush. I bet none of y'all knew about these. Unless you did. Then cool. And because the map is so poorly modeled, you can drive in areas you were never supposed to be in, like the water gap from earlier. Or these things. What are these things? There's a gap here in the ghost house, and if you go inside, you find this little area here. Look, it's a secret room. I bet none of y'all knew about this either. Unless you did, then you're a nerd. Oh yeah, what was that I said about keeping it brief and not going on tangents?
How about this one was just be a short one? You know, just here's a track. This is what I think about it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Whoops. I don't think I stuck by my word there. Cry about it. Look at this gap here. I can sense some shenanigans going on here. Let's test it out. And I'm stuck on this tiny triangle. I can't move or I'll die. I'm stuck like this. I can't even see myself. What the heck? Wait. Oh, okay. Alright, we got some jitteriness going on. That means it's working. Just give it a minute. Guys, what's happening? I'm sliding across the wall here. I swear, I'm not moving. I'm not pressing anything. What? All right, let's just ride this out. Let's take it. Let it take its course. See what happens. Any minute now. I said any minute now. Oh dear God, this is taking forever. You know, there's so many different things I could do in this time. I could be studying for chemistry, or calculus. I could be making the August update, or the September update. Instead, I'm just waiting around. Just kill me already. Thank you. And while I'm here, I want to see if I can die in this little gap here. It seems like I can. It looks wide enough for me to fit, right? Huh. I guess not. I want to see if there's anything else in there. Like, it seems like there should be something other than that tiny triangle, right? Well, we're back on the triangle. Yay, my favorite. But it seems like there should be something else behind there too, you know? It shouldn't just be that little platform. And judging how the rest of the map was modeled, it doesn't seem like the grass would cut off at exactly the same point where the wall is. You know, it just seems like there should be like a little extra strip of grass underneath, because there isn't like a gap of water outside the wall, so there should be a little more grass inside for me to drive on.
Hey boo, can you get out of the way? God!
I can't see. Oh, there's another area. There's another. I knew it. I knew it. Oh wow, look at this. I can actually move around and I can like see myself and all that. Wow, it's crazy. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There's a third bush. There's a third bush. Secret bush. Yeah, that's awesome. After I was done with that, I tried to wander around some more, but I couldn't find anything else. I tried clipping this tree root for a while to get to the other side of the river, but judging by the fact I died over here, I don't think anything crazy would happen. Now, legend has it that if you slip on every oil slick in the map, hit the chain chomp in the ghost house 3 times, and take the long cut backwards, you can summon the spirit of Yankee Jim. Wanna try it? Nah, I got a review to finish. After all I've said with how choppy it looks and how it was made so poorly, I'm actually surprised at how not bad this track is. I'm genuinely shocked. It's surprisingly not bad. I'd hesitate to call it good. It's not. It's really not. But it's okay. It's fine. It's decent. Decent enough, anyway. I'm a little mixed on Haunted Woods, in case you can't tell. I do think it's more than the sum of its parts, even though those parts are pretty bad. Given the extremely outdated look and feel of the track, as well as the mostly unintriguing layout, what would ordinarily make me dislike any other track, the odd and broken style sort of adds to the charm, and I kind of like it. Like is a bit of a strong word, but I don't hate it nearly as much as everyone else seems to. It's certainly not worse than a track like Peaks or ASDF Course. It's actually playable. Overall, I'd give Haunted Woods a 5.5 out of 10. Take that, JCLK2, you're wrong. You're wrong, your opinion is wrong. Hashtag owned, capital B, closed parentheses, God. Ah, shoot, I forgot to mention, this track got a remake. So much for keeping it short today. Now it goes by the name of Haunted Gardens. I mean, what kind of name is that? It sounds stupid. Haunted Woods is way better. SMH my head. Anyhow, the remake made by Holland is a pretty big overhaul on the original. It's way more modernized now. I'll try to go over the remake really quickly, because again, I don't want this one to be almost a half hour long. The visuals are definitely what changed the most about Haunted Woods. It looks a lot less... The visuals are definitely what changed the most about Haunted Gardens. It looks a lot less choppy. The road connects with itself, textures aren't stretched or facing the wrong way, it flows together much better than the original ever did. But as a whole, does it really look better? Sure, I'd say it looks a lot more polished and cohesive, but honestly speaking, I think it looks worse. I'm not just saying this to be a contrarian, I actually think this is a downgrade. The jaggedy design of Haunted Woods is what gave it its edge, you know? I'm pretty sure I'm in the minority on this, but the disconnected roads and warped textures worked for me. You could argue that it went well with the rest of the track because the jagged nature of the road creates this sort of uneasy, unnatural atmosphere the theme sets out for. It's like what Sinister Vault wanted to look like. I know it's objectively poor design, but somehow, some way, they got it to not be as bad. It worked, is what I'm saying. It worked. And by taking that away, by filling in the gaps and evening out the textures, you take away what made Haunted Woods Haunted Woods. Whether it's a good or bad thing is up to you, but personally, I don't like the change. With the modernized look of Gardens, it's now become another by-the-numbers, sort of forgettable, spooky track. Not even spooky, more like spook-esque. Spookish, semi-spooky, sub-spooky, I don't know. Say what you want about Woods, it stood out. There was no other track like it, at the very least not in CGP. It was almost universally condemned, but it drew a reaction out of people, and a strong one at that. You don't get to be in the best of the worst without comments like this. With Remake, on the other hand, I cannot see anyone having strong opinions about it one way or another. And the same thing goes for the gameplay too. All of its edges have been evened out, resulting in this blandy blandness. It tries to mix things up with the split road and the ghost house, but they don't go on long enough for it to really affect anything. And they also aren't that fun. Probably a result of being too short. Those are the parts that actually stick out, but the rest of the track, nothing but plain old dirt road. Like dozens of others out there. Maybe the occasional cobblestone bridge. Yawn. Most of the track, really, can be described with that one word. Yawn. Really quick, about that ghost house I brought up a few seconds ago, I want to reiterate how disappointing it is to me. It's too small. I feel like this is the biggest disappointment in the remake right here. It's far too small to be any fun, and that is such a letdown. It could have been more interesting. It could have been more fun, but with the very limited amount of space it had to take, and with the original track to model it after, it couldn't live up to what could have been. Am I making sense here? That was a bit of a run-on. If the creator extended it a little bit and took some more creative liberties, I bet it'd be better. But the loyalty to the original layout hurt the enjoyability of the new version. The same goes for the rest of the track, by the way, not just the ghost house or the gameplay or anything. All of it. It was too focused on staying true to the original that it was too afraid to do anything that different. And with the jagged road design gone, it kept all the boring aspects of the original, while removing anything that made it enjoyable or memorable. I understand that remakes should stay sort of close to the original, because you may as well be making an entirely new track if you change it up too much, but it seems like a missed opportunity here to play around with the original design and make something better from it. As I said before, most of the remake is simply a polished version of the original, and what little was actually changed isn't strong enough to carry everything, which leads to the track being very underwhelming. I guess that's the main takeaway here. It's underwhelming. Also, why'd you make the water purple, man? Why is it purple? It's so out of place, it doesn't belong. Make it regular watercolor. Or make it a bit swampier and greenish if you want it to fit the vibe. But not purple. Of all colors. Purple. Why'd you make it purple?
Why is the water purple?
It was a good attempt at revamping an old track. I can appreciate the effort that went into this. There are absolutely some good ideas here and there. I like the slightly transparent chain chomps. I like the fact that you actually had to drive inside the ghost house. That was undeniably a good decision. Because again, in the original, I don't see any point in having it there. So recreating it to be a mandatory part of the track is a positive for me. I like the graveyard, the gate, the hedge maze, and other decorations. I like the fact that they hid the shortcut and nerfed it. That was a good call. The original cut took you over here, but now it takes you over here, so it isn't completely overpowered. And you only need one set of triple shrooms to do it. Don't do it like I'm doing it here. This is the scrub way. The remake has some good ideas, I'm telling you. It's just a shame that the whole thing wound up as such a massive letdown. I'm gonna leave it at that, cause I don't want to be here any longer. Haunted Gardens took basically everything I liked about Haunted Woods, which wasn't even much to begin with, and removed it. And while it did have a few positives of its own, it wasn't really enough to salvage everything else. I definitely prefer the original, although not by a lot. It still had its fair share of flaws. A big share of flaws. A lot of flaws. Overall, I'd give Haunted Gardens a 5 out of 10. Just a 5. It's alright. It's fine. A bit bland, but fine. I'd recommend you play Haunted Woods instead. Or better yet, play Thump Bump Forest instead. Yeah, if you want a track that does what Haunted Gardens does, but better, I'd say play Thump Bump. It's really nice. I can't recommend it enough. Alright, that does it. That's my review. Thanks for watching. KCL is wrong. Philip is also probably wrong. Mayro 2 just cuz. Yeah, that's it. See you later. Go away. So since the ghost house mansion building is now a mandatory part of the track, we may as well have a look around and see what's inside. Already, it's way better than the original. It's all nice and decorated rather than that depressing black pixelated sludge everywhere. You know, it actually looks good. There's a fireplace over there with some sofas and a coffee table, some dead daisies and Luigi's ballroom dancing, a chain chomp being held captive for a $10,000 ransom. These ghosts are living the good life. I know what I have to do. I have to break open the cage, stomp on the stake holding the chain chomp, and it'll give me a star box. That's why it's there, right? No? Man, can't have anything nice. The ramps here are separated for God knows a reason. I guess to add a bit of, like, realism, so the players don't go flying through the in-between part of the window. I don't know. Seems a little arbitrary, a little strange, a little weird if you ask me. But if you say so, Haunted Gardens. Not exactly how I'd design it, but what do I know? I'm not dead. I'm not a ghost. Let's take a look at the second floor, and it's a bunch of crates. It's a bunch of crates. Look, it's a bunch of crates lying around. These ghosts really need to organize their stuff. There's like a vent or a window on the back wall, like a little window grill. Those little bars. If you can see, there's this little path going along the upper wall there. Like what's that about? I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna check that out. Instead I'm stuck here. This is rigged. With the way it looks, this is probably meant to be more of an attic, like a dusty, dingy, rarely touched attic, rather than a second story to a ghostly mansion. But again, I'm not dead, so what do I know? A lot of you may know already, this track has a little hedge maze for you. Yes, this is not just for decoration, but it can also give you a fun little minigame. So if you're ever thinking to yourself, man, being able to see where I'm going next is so boring. I really wish I was in a maze right now. But Heart of China got removed 6 months ago. 6 months? Are you serious? It's been that long? I need to be in a maze right now, or else I die. What am I gonna do? Your solution, right here. Watch, I'm gonna get through this maze in 10 seconds flat. Just watch. Look, I'm going through, making my way downtown. Here we are. You see, this looks like a dead end, but it's actually not. It's like Mario 64 with the paintings. You can just walk right through. Oh, nope. Never mind. It's a dead end. Okay, that's alright. Let's keep on going. Are you serious? I'm actually done? That was a lot shorter than I expected. Well, great. Now I got nothing to work with. This is what you get. Hey, look at that. 10 seconds flat. Just like I said. We did it. I did all the work. But we all did it together somehow. So what do we get? A plaque? Some Japanese text I don't understand? Whoa. I wasn't expecting that. Is that tree on fire? What? Whoa, dude. I didn't know it had a third floor. What is this? Oh, this is what we saw before. This is what we saw through the Among Us event. Well, there's nothing else over here. It's empty. I guess we should just go up the stairs then. I said, I guess we should just go up the stairs. Go up the stairs. Up the stairs. Get up there! Is there an invisible wall or something? Why can't I move past this? Get up! Holland, you disappoint me! Minus points for leading me to nothing. Oh great, where am I going now? I'm down here, behind the rope thing. Oh, that's wonderful. These things still hurt you? Yeah, they still hurt you. Can I get in the fireplace? I want to get in the fireplace. Can't get in the fireplace. Look at this. The couches are drivable. You could get on the couch. Ooh, look at that. Hey guys, how you doing? Have you enjoyed the 4-month gap in uploads? Yeah, I bet it's been real nice for you. We're getting pretty far into the video, so I just wanted to remind you. It's Halloween. Spooky for you. Look at this. If you go around the maze and look behind the ghost house, there's a giant Cheep Cheep just derping around. I love it. Did I just actually say derping out loud? What is wrong with me? If you take a right after the first bridge, you see this little area here. There's a small gap between the house and the hedge, but I think there's an invisible wall because I'm not seeing any jitteriness like you normally would. But if you go to the opposite side of the hedge, you can see there's like a small strip of land there. I'm wondering if you can elbow grease it to the other side. It should be possible, right? Given how thin the strip is though, even if you manage to ride it to the other side, I don't think it'd be possible to get back up. Yeah, no, you can't do that. Even if you get all the way to the end, there's nothing there. Really disappointing. And Holland, you disappoint me, Holland! Oh, check that out. The bridges have little arcs at the bottom. That's a nice detail. Completely unnecessary to add. Almost nobody would notice that, but it's nice. Bridges are still ugly, though. Get better bridges. Oh yeah, and while we're here, why is the water purple, Holland? Why is it purple? Okay, now that's it. See y'all in another 5 months. I'm out of here. I got classes to not study for. End.